Blinker o'clock. I'm inclined to agree. The lawsuit that killed Goosebumps. This seemed interesting, only from a month ago. I'm assuming it happened a long time ago. Let's check it out, dude. Goosebumps, obviously the famous horror novels, and then turned into TV shows, which are pretty cool if you're like scared of gore. It's like good kids horror, I guess you would call it. But I mean, they're still kind of creepy if you watch them, like The Dummy and stuff. There's a lot of classic Goosebumps. I wanted to call them bits. I don't know what to call them. Like episodes, books, covers. I guess the covers mostly are what is the most iconic. And this video is by Channel Surfer, spelled wrong.
For those who grew up in
Shouts
the 1990s, the Goosebumps franchise was unavoidable. Originally released as a horror book series for children, Goosebumps quickly grew beyond the world of literature, spawning a television series, games, toys, and loads of merchandise.
Loads!
By the mid-90s, the Goosebumps brand was everywhere, raking in millions of dollars for its publisher Scholastic and its author R.L. Stine. But as the franchise exploded in popularity, a legal battle would manifest between Stine and Scholastic, which would ultimately lead to the franchise's downfall. R.L. Stine began his publishing career in the 1970s, serving as the editor for the teen humor magazine Bananas, which was published by Scholastic Press. In 1984, the magazine folded, and Stine was encouraged by his editors to dabble in young adult horror, a literary genre sweeping the book world. By the mid-1980s, authors like Christopher Pike and Lois Duncan had grown to prominence, writing paperback thriller novels aimed at teenagers.
All right, I'm just guessing what happens, because if he went into freaking business with Scholastic and they fell out, I'm assuming it's because R.L. Stine got really popular and they had already locked him into a contract to write his 150 books or some shit. Because he has a lot of books, dude. Also, I watched Fear Street on Netflix. That's apparently like his a little bit older books turned into Netflix movies. Fear Street, R.L. Stine. I'll just see what comes up. I don't necessarily know what I'm looking for because they are books turned into a Netflix thing. I don't know which I wanted to show. This guy's gonna read them all for 5 hours. Let's watch. These really weren't my jam though. They're kind of like Stranger Things-y, kind of like that 80s style. I don't know what to call it. It's just like that ethos that the It movies had and stuff.
When things were good on Shady Side. But now, that's all gone.
Oh man, I turn the wood around with the skeleton hand, yeah.
Hello?
Still alive.
Who is
The girl
this?
from Stranger Things is in that?
It's happening.
I've never seen it, to be honest. But this is like a 3-part. There's like 3 movies, and that was more condensed for me, I guess. It's hard to watch shows. I don't have the attention span.
Sunnyvale versus Shady Side. Red versus
Sometimes.
blue. Good versus evil. Recommensicate. Color.
Go back to where it all started.
1666.
Yeah, like one of the 3 movies took place in like the 1800s and shit, and it was all kind of like The Witch.
The devil has come to feast on our misdeeds.
If they want a witch.
So yeah, they gotta go burn because they were kissing.
3 centuries.
And that's gay.
It stops here. It stops with us.
Oh!
Who the hell was that?
I don't know! Anyway, R.L. Stine wrote that.
Stine took a
Right?
crack at it, publishing Blind
sure.
Date in 1986, followed by a string of standalone teen thrillers. As his work gained in popularity, Stine and his wife Jane set up a publishing company called Parachute
Dude, I really
Press.
need to rewatch the Goosebumps movie, even though I have no interest at all, because I think I saw it at some point, and I think there was a joke in it that was really funny to me. And I'm just curious to know what it is, because I can't remember it for the life of me, and it's been years at this point, and I've never had a eureka moment where I recalled what was so funny in that movie. I gotta
The company
rewatch it.
worked out a deal with Simon
I'm
and
never doing
Schuster
that.
to publish
Maybe
the
I will.
new
Who
teen
knows?
horror series Fear Street, with the first installment, The New Girl, being published
The
in
attention
1989.
span of a nit.
The series was presented
It's
in an
possible.
anthology style, with each installment following different characters within
Speaking
the
of
fictional
which-
town of Shadyside.
Speed
The
up.
series depicted dark themes like murder, hauntings, and psychic phenomena. And by the early 1990s, Fear Street had soared in popularity to become one of the best-selling book series for young adults, with Stine
So Fear Street was taken off at this point.
releasing a new book every single month.
That's what we just watched.
Around this time, Stine was encouraged by his wife Jane to create a new horror series, this time aimed at children rather than teens.
Oh, it came
The
first.
result was Goosebumps, with Stine lifting the name from an ad he saw in TV Guide. Like Fear Street, the Goosebumps books would be anthological in nature, with each
Gotcha.
installment featuring a child protagonist facing sinister supernatural forces. Goosebumps' target demographic
He
was
said we
children
had to go
ages 8
deeper into the baby route. We got to make it
and in
even
1991,
more
Parachute Press signed a deal with the
accessible.
Scholastic Corporation, allowing them to publish the first 6 Goosebumps books. While Parachute would own the series' trademark, the agreement gave Scholastic control over the book's non-publication rights, which would include adaptations, merchandise, and other licensing deals. Additionally, Parachute agreed to a stipulation that said that R.L. Stine would be the sole writer of each installment in the series. The first 2 books, Welcome to Dead House and Stay Out of the Basement, were published by Scholastic in July of 1992. More installments quickly followed, but with limited promotion.
Also, fun fact, R.L. Stine is a stage name that he uses for his books. His real name is Jack Black. He's in the movie.
The series was not a huge hit right off the bat. However, Goosebumps would benefit heavily from being included in Scholastic book fairs, which took place at various elementary schools across the country. Scholastic had begun doing book fairs in 1981, in which the company would deliver books to school libraries and display them for a full week, allowing students to browse and purchase them. The event was designed to raise
Gotta get
money
my
for
lifts in.
schools and promote literacy amongst grade school children, also serving as a valuable outlet for Scholastic to promote its books directly to kids. Within a year of its publication, Goosebumps had become a big hit at book fairs, with 1.8 million
book
copies of the
fairs!
series in print by 1993. And though R.L. Stine was already a recognizable name with teen readers thanks to Fear Street, Goosebumps helped him reach a younger demographic, delivering his signature spooky tales to an elementary school crowd. Many applauded Stine for creating content that got children reading. Others expressed concern that the horror themes present in these books were too scary for young readers.
It is
But
too
regardless
scary
of
for
what
young
parents
readers.
and critics thought, one thing was for certain. Children of the 90s loved to be scared, and Goosebumps was delivering the goods. Scholastic and Parachute Press quickly renewed their contract, agreeing to publish more
think that was
Goosebumps
even?
books written solely
I would
by
hate
Stine.
to be
And
lopsided.
through word of mouth, Goosebumps' popularity grew immensely, with the books in the series consistently
Bro
hitting
looked
the
like to
bestseller
erase your
list.
head.
In addition to the original series, the first spin-off book was released in October of 1994, a short story
That's
collection
when I was
entitled
born.
Tales to Give You Goosebumps.
I didn't read it 'cause
And
I
the series
couldn't.
overall was now outpacing
That's the
sales of
only
Fear Street.
reason.
While Goosebumps had grown steadily in its first few years of publication, 1995 was the year that the series exploded in popularity. An interactive spin-off book series entitled Give Yourself Goosebumps was introduced, and between the original book series and its spin-offs, Scholastic was reportedly shipping out 4 million copies of Goosebumps books every single month, as the series now had over 70 million copies in circulation. Fall of 1995 would see the premiere of the Goosebumps television series, produced by Scholastic Productions.
Yeah, now
The
we're
pilot
talking.
episode, an adaptation of the 11th
Let's get
Goosebumps
some
book, The
visual
Haunted Mask,
media to
premiered
scare
in
me
the
for
primetime
life.
slot on the Fox network before moving to its regular time slot on Friday afternoons during the Fox Kids block. The series received high ratings and positive viewer feedback, prompting the creation of yet
Read
another
Edgar
spin-off
Allan
book
Poe if
series
you want to be
based on the
scared. I
TV
did. I
episodes
think I read that in school. It was fire.
titled Goosebumps Presents.
Except that guy did
In
have a weird
1996,
relationship
Scholastic
with his
began
cousin wife. I'm
releasing
pretty
episodes
sure.
of the TV series on VHS, and the franchise was now expanding beyond books and TV, with various products
Can't
being
separate
released
the
bearing
art from the
Goosebumps
artist on
logo.
that one.
In July of 1996, Scholastic announced a $40 million deal with the Pepsi Company to promote Goosebumps through various Pepsi-owned products. Miniature Goosebumps books would be included in 30 million bags of chips, and millions of dollars worth of
Wow.
ads on TV would draw attention to the
That's like what
promotion.
DJ Khaled would like give his album away with the purchase of Sody Pops, and then they made that illegal. That doesn't count towards Billboard anymore.
Goosebumps merchandise
literally
was
what
being
they were
pumped
doing
out
with
left and right, and
books.
brand exposure was higher than ever. The series had begun as an organic word-of-mouth literary phenomena and had quickly turned into a mainstream
spit up
multimedia
hella
brand.
mucus.
And Scholastic as a company had benefited
Yeah, I'm
immensely.
also like getting over a cold still, and I mean, my freaking, this is TMI, but my snot is still like not neon green, so maybe I need antibiotics or something, but I'm just gonna tough it out until I have to address
from
it.
the franchise, reaching $1 billion
I got
in
sick while I was
sales and
visiting
being
Robbie.
dubbed the Disney of children's
Going to
book
the
publishing.
freaking clown motel, dude.
But Parachute
If you guys
Press
didn't
was
see that
growing
video, check
increasingly
it out on my
frustrated
vlog
by their
channel.
agreement with Scholastic.
It was
In
scary.
early 1996, Jane Stine, along with Parachute Press executive Joan Warrica, attended a meeting with Dick Robinson, the head of Scholastic, in which they asked the publisher to give Parachute control of Goosebumps licensing, along with a $10 million signing bonus. Scholastic refused. The Goosebumps brand, including all of its licensing deals, was now responsible for half of the company's profits.
Hi,
Relations
Danny.
between
That's
Parachute
me.
and Scholastic
What up,
quickly
4K? Hope you're
deteriorated,
doing
with
well,
one
dog.
former Scholastic employee telling
Appreciate
the
you
press
watching.
World War III began that day, and it killed the brand. Despite their differences, the two sides signed a new deal in November of 1996, which gave Parachute control over the negotiation of licensing deals, with Scholastic having the right to approve or deny the
What
deal.
the hell is Parachute Press, dude? Talk about not brand awareness. I wouldn't know if I've heard of them. But Scholastic, they are the supreme of children's book brands. Look at the box logo. You got that goddamn Gucci Louis, 3 box logos. Yes! Yes!
deals. The new agreement would allow Scholastic to publish 106 new books from Parachute and would increase the royalty rate that Parachute was to be paid from Scholastic. But the new contract also contained an important provision that if any of its terms were breached, the agreement would be void and the two parties would revert back to their previous agreements. With the Goosebumps TV series entering its second season, over 40 Goosebumps licensing deals had been secured, and the franchise was hitting a new peak.
R.L. Stine was getting too much money, and he's like, I got plenty. I don't have to take this.
But by 1997, the empire would begin to falter as internal and external pressures threatened to tear it apart. In February of 1997, Scholastic announced to investors that sales of Goosebumps books were unexpectedly declining, which would result in the company's stock values dropping. The drop in sales was attributed
like that frame drop, dude. It was a symbolism. I get it.
Goosebumps books not selling as well as they had in the past. With over 180 million
You got
Goosebumps
Goopy
books
Stairs. We all remember the scary Goosebumps book, Goopy Stairs, where they poured the slime out the stairs and it killed them.
It appeared that the book series had finally reached the ceiling of its success.
I have seen the licensed pharmacist guy. He's funny, but he always baits me in, and I kind of expect him to like take the substances and tell me how they are, and I don't believe that he does that.
News hit investors
which is probably
hard,
for the
Scholastic
best.
stock dropping 41%. The company's stockholders subsequently filed a lawsuit against Scholastic, charging that it knew about Goosebumps' declining sales months earlier but had deliberately concealed the information. While book sales had dipped, the Goosebumps franchise remained strong overall.
I don't know
in
if I want to watch his videos because they
Disney World theme park attraction
drugs,
opened, and the TV series was moved to Saturday mornings, becoming a top-rated show on the Fox Kids block. But by mid-1997, relations between Scholastic and Parachute had completely soured. The two entities reportedly came to a stalemate over licensing deals, with 16 different deals falling through because of their internal disagreements. In summer of 1997, Scholastic accused Parachute of using unapproved forms to make licensing deals. Scholastic saw this as a violation of their contract, which they said gave them the right to void the current contract and revert back to previous terms. This would mean that Parachute's higher royalty rate, which was negotiated in the newest contract, was also void, with Scholastic halting its royalty payments to Parachute. In response, the Parachute Press filed a lawsuit against Scholastic, charging that Scholastic had breached their contract and owed them $36 million in royalties. Scholastic countersued, alleging that Parachute had breached the contract first by hiring ghostwriters to write the Goosebumps books. According to the contract made between Scholastic and Parachute, Stine was to be the sole writer of the original Goosebumps books, though the agreement did permit him to use ghostwriters for books in the spin-off series. According to Scholastic, R.L. Stine did write the first 16 books himself. However, starting with book number 17, Why I'm Afraid of Bees, Scholastic claimed that Parachute began hiring ghostwriters, who would be given a 10-page outline from Stine and turn it into a full manuscript of around 120 pages. These ghostwriters allegedly made a majority of the creative decisions, while Stine would review the manuscripts and make minimal revisions before publication.
Minimal revisions? Not on my watch!
Scholastic claims that Stine was working more as an editor rather than a writer, thus breaking the terms of their contract. Scholastic even claimed that the declining sales of the Goosebumps books were a direct result of Stine employing ghostwriters, as they were not able to adequately recreate Stine's unique voice. R.L. Stine was releasing 24 books per year, and while some questioned how this was possible, he had always publicly denied using ghostwriters, joking to the press in 1993.
I love drinking caffeine too much. It's just the best way to consume it.
That he's much too greedy to hire assistants. But over the course of the lawsuit, Parachute did admit to hiring writer's assistants for Stine, starting with book 17 in the Goosebumps series, in order to meet deadlines and allow Stine more time to make promotional appearances.
Okay, but so I see they were having some disagreements, yes.
Said that
I'm trying to get the gist of this.
Assistants were minimal, and that Stine was still making a majority of creative
decisions.
Jack
Black doesn't look a day over 100.
Titles, plots, and characters. Parachute claimed that Stine still had full creative control and was not breaching his contract by using assistants, which they said was common industry practice. With Goosebumps in legal limbo, and both sides retaining some ownership of the brand, it was unknown how things would continue. In October of 1990...
Yeah, when did we get to the point where PacSun gets to print their logo on T-shirts and board shorts?
Scholastic went ahead and published the latest Goosebumps.
That's what I call a triple header of give me 3 T-shirts for $20.
Goosebumps triple header. The book would include
I need a triple header, shoddy. Okay,
being presented
2 strikes.
by a triple-headed monster named Lefty, Righty, and Slim. Shortly thereafter, Parachute filed another lawsuit against Scholastic in federal court, claiming that the publisher had breached their 1996 agreement and was engaging in copyright infringement with the release of the triple-header book. Despite
you shouldn't violate your 1996 agreement.
Contract for dozens of new Goosebumps books. In late 1997, Scholastic
Yeah, hold on. You thought you were going to slip this by me. You remember the background. The famous Goosebumps book, Baseball Boy Bedroom.
parties were still under contract.
Zombie.
For dozens
There was a
of new
zombie there
Goosebumps
too.
books.
Zombie Boy
In late
Bedroom.
1997,
I don't know.
Scholastic stated that it would continue to publish the Goosebumps series as planned, and Parachute agreed to deliver new manuscripts for
Whoopsie.
publication until the courts made their decision.
I am 100.
Other spin-off projects
in 2
remained in
days.
development, including a Goosebumps feature film produced by Tim Burton. At the time, Jane Stine was quoted as saying, "It is quite unpleasant, but we still work with them every day." The two companies were still benefiting heavily from the Goosebumps franchise, and both had a vested interest in keeping the ball rolling.
Ah,
A
yes.
brand new series entitled Goosebumps series, and both had a vested interest in keeping the ball rolling.
Slappy look a little like Adolf Slappy from this resolution.
A brand new series entitled Goosebumps Series 2000 was launched in January of 1998, with one new book being published each month. While sales had dipped from its
One
peak,
buck a month is crazy. I guess
books
that's
were
just
still
a
selling
different
well,
skill,
with the new
dude.
series quickly becoming one of the best-selling book series in children's
I guess that's
literature.
only like one Substack or whatever the. Where do people write? Do people write on what's that damn shit called? Okay, Substack. Yep,
The
Tumblr.
Goosebumps TV series also continued to do well, with the show expanding to air 6 days a week on the Fox Kids block. But by 1998, the block overall was succumbing to increased competition, with its viewership decreasing by 30%. The Goosebumps series was renewed for an abbreviated 4th season of just 8 episodes, which aired in fall of 1998. After quietly wrapping up its run on Saturday mornings, Fox began airing reruns on its new cable network Fox Family in the fall of 1999.
Yeah, right.
But Scholastic was not happy with this move, which they said violated their contract. Scholastic claimed that it was entitled to the profits Fox made from distributing the series. to
Listen,
other
buddy.
TV
This is TV. You are books. Get the hell over it,
While
dude. Don't
Fox
tell me how to
maintained
do my
that Fox Family
job.
was a part of their network,
I
thus
imagine
not
was their
subject to any
response.
further fees. So yet another lawsuit was initiated, with Scholastic suing Fox for copyright infringement and seeking $2.7 million in damages. The TV series continued to air in reruns on Fox Family until 2001, and reportedly sold very well on home video. It's unknown if the producers of the series had any plans to continue with a 5th season, but with such a high-profile lawsuit between its owners, new episodes of the series were out of the question, and the show was effectively canceled.
Damn.
Meanwhile, back in the publishing world, R.L. Stine continued to work on the Goosebumps books, wrapping up his contract with Scholastic as a new young adult series was taking.
Now
initial
those are
its own.
covers.
In 1997, Scholastic spent $100,000
Not the most iconic ones, but I guess they already used them all.
to purchase the U.S. rights to a young adult novel entitled Harry Potter and the Philosopher's
What is the best
Stone.
Goosebumps book? The one I remember the most is The Mask, which is like I feel like one of the most common ones that pops up. But freaking, what are some other famous ones?
Thanks to
I remember
positive
there's
word
one
of
with a
mouth, the
camera,
fantasy
like,
novel
say
became a
cheese
huge
and
hit in
die.
England in the following
That
year,
one's cool.
Scholastic released J.K. Rowling's debut novel in America
Better
under the
call
title
Saul
Harry Potter and
Obama
the
Your
Sorcerer's
Mama.
Stone.
What up, dog?
Matching its overseas success, the book became
And
a
you're right.
bestseller in the U.S., topping the New York
I'm
Times
calling
bestseller
him.
list in 1999. 2 Harry Potter sequels were published by Scholastic that same year, and though the Goosebumps franchise was still tied up in court, the publisher had found a new cash cow to milk.
Indeed.
R.L. Stine and Parachute Press continued
Harry
delivering
Potter is a
Goosebumps
milky
2000
cow.
and Give Yourself Goosebumps books, but the writing was on the wall for the series. Sales had declined to just 200,000 copies per month, as the series had been overshadowed heavily by Harry Potter, along with another Scholastic young adult
And
series,
Animorphs, an equally milky cow and successful franchise. Just kidding. That's the one where they turn into animals for some reason. I guess you got to read them all to figure it out. I read a couple, but once you read a couple, you've kind of read them all.
Put it simply, in the
Unlike
ever-evolving
Harry
world
Potter,
of
where they're
children's
all
entertainment,
awesome.
Goosebumps was old news. Moving on from Scholastic, R.L. Stine and Parachute signed entertainment. Goosebumps was old news.
Why did they turn to old men?
Moving on from Scholastic, R.L. Stine and Parachute signed a new deal with HarperCollins, which would release Stine's new young adult horror series,
Who?
The Nightmare Room,
Omega
along with
Lol?
a brand new 12-book Goosebumps series entitled Goosebumps Gold. HarperCollins initially planned to release both series
Finally,
in the year
Goosebumps Premium, dude.
2000, with the first Nightmare Room installment being released in August. But in late 2000, the release of Goosebumps Gold was postponed without explanation.
Damn it!
Artist Tim Jacobus, who had created the cover art for most of the Goosebumps books, posted a page on his website promoting the Goosebumps Gold series for release in 2001. The website even gave a preview of the first 2 installments, but the series was canceled before its release,
She's
likely
ripping
due
the
to
mask
ongoing
off.
litigation between Scholastic
would've been
and Parachute
fire.
about the rights to the series.
I feel robbed.
After the final Goosebumps books were published in the year 2000, the series would lay dormant for several years. Scholastic's revenue continued to grow significantly with the Harry Potter series, now a global phenomena that had far surpassed Goosebumps' success. It wasn't until
You're right.
2003 that the complex web of lawsuits plaguing the Goosebumps franchise finally came to a conclusion. First, in January of 2003, Parachute Press and Scholastic came to a settlement, with Scholastic agreeing to pay Parachute $9.65 million for the rights to Goosebumps and its trademark. And in June of that year, Scholastic lost its case against Fox regarding the airing of Goosebumps on the Fox Family Channel. The irony is that by the time these lawsuits were settled, much of the public interest in the Goosebumps franchise had died out.
Bro's
As the book
gaming.
series ended in the year 2000 and the TV series stopped airing in 2001, Goosebumps had lost much of the potency that had made it so popular back in the 1990s. However, copies
Brad's
of Goosebumps
Epid.
books still existed in schools and libraries across the world,
said a
and
naughty
new
word, I had
generations
to
of young
approve it.
readers would continue
It's
to
been
discover the
done.
series for the first time.
Let me make you a mod.
In November of 2003,
If you're
Scholastic began re-releasing books from the original series with slightly
How do you do
modified
that?
covers. Goosebumps continued to sell around 2 million copies per year, and the franchise overall received a boost when reruns
Whoops.
of the TV series began airing on Cartoon Network in 2007.
Sorry
In
guys, I
2000
gotta react to what my roommate was doing in my room now. My awesome dancing. Oh no.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Alright. I was just trying to make bro a mod.
2008, Goosebumps was resurrected as Goosebumps Horrorland, a new book series with R.L. Stine at the helm. The series ran until
Oh, I know
2012
why.
and was followed by 3 more series, including Goosebumps House of Shivers, which is still being published today. And the
House
long-awaited
of
feature
Shiver
film
Me
adaptation of
Timbers!
Goosebumps finally came to fruition in 2015.
I think
with
Slappy
Jack
and the gnomes should wear Timberlands in the Goosebumps third movie.
Black portraying a fictionalized version of Stine. To this day, R.L. Stine maintains that he wrote all of the Goosebumps books himself, saying that he only used outside writers to help with the outlines. And while we may never know the extent to which ghostwriters were employed, it's clear that Stine was always the driving force behind the franchise, creating an iconic world that continues to captivate readers to this day. Over 30 years after its initial inception, Goosebumps is still going strong, pumping out books, films, and TV series. But there's no doubt that Goosebumps' peak as a cultural phenomena was in the 1990s. Before all the hype that transformed the series into a global franchise, Goosebumps was simply a book on the shelf, able to enthrall young readers through catchy titles, imaginative cover art, and engaging plots. While Goosebumps...
Yeah. Okay. Well, now we understand, dude. It was because of the TV series and the books they stopped getting along, dude. And then they let them go because Harry Potter better. And sold more anyway, so they didn't care anymore. Shout out Channel Surfer for educating me. Why does that say that in my freaking search bar? I didn't look that up. It's Brett Michaels. Damn it, my camera turned off at the proper moment.